Yesterday was an absolutely glorious day juxtaposed with today, but that sunshine yesterday really made me think about summer. And when I started thinking about summer, probably because I was preparing this, I started thinking about summer as a kid. You remember what that was like and kind of that freedom to do about anything? And you didn't sit still much. At least when I was growing up, you never sat still because much like Mike spoke last week about being on a farm, that was my growing up experience. We milked cows, we hoed acres and acres and acres of sugar beets, and we never really sat still. But at the end of the day, when the rest of the neighborhood would go to the pond to swim or go play baseball, that was really when it got a little rough for me because I was a really overweight kid. And that wasn't a fun way to live life. So this morning I wanted to talk about healthy kids and food literacy. One of the things that we're facing in this country is that according to the Center for Disease Control, greater than 20% of our 12 to 19-year-olds in the United States is obese. Of course, the causes there are three main ones, and genetics, one of which of those was a contributor for me. But lack of physical activity. I mean, I know I have two teenage sons, and the number of hours in front of a TV or gaming versus the number of hours that they're out playing ball with their friends equal to slightly more in terms of sitting in front of a video. And also our unhealthy eating habits. And that was true for me as well. So you may be wondering, well, what is actually the definition of obesity? And for kids, it's different than adults. For kids, it depends on their age and their height, and then we look at their body mass index. And obesity is defined as a body mass index of greater than 95th percentile. Now, you might wonder, were you obese? I don't know. We didn't have that term, and we didn't have body mass index when I was growing up. But I do know that I was significantly overweight. And in terms of comparing that to today, I had a class of about 24 kids. And there were only 2 of us that would be said as heavy or overweight. And that would be less than 10%. So we have seen a dramatic change in what we're dealing with our kids in this country. And that's not unusual for the developing nations of our world either. Obesity is an issue. For all of you, most of you are Mayo people, or there are several in here that are dedicated to physical activity or running. You understand the benefits of being active and how important obesity is to long-term health risk. I mean, obviously, obesity is going to contribute to the early onset of adult diabetes and a myriad of other problems. But as a survivor of childhood overweight, I can tell you that that might be even less important than the social and emotional impacts of childhood obesity. Because when you have social and emotional impacts and that negativity that goes with it, your self-esteem falls. And all of the data is showing us that when that happens, our kids, our future, their ability to be successful dramatically decreases. All because they're overweight as a kid. So what are we going to do about it? Now this is going to look definitely Jejun, because this is not rocket science. No offense to any of the other intellectual disciplines in this room. But plenty of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, low-fat milk and dairy products, lean meat, poultry, fish, or lentils and proteins, reasonable portion sizes, which is the one huge fail, epic proportions for this country, and drinking lots of water. Sounds pretty easy. So why don't families do it? Well, one of the major things is in inner cities, they may actually exist in what we call a food desert. Because for a lot of inner city families, even if they have the financial ability, they don't have the ability to physically get fresh fruits and vegetables. It just doesn't exist because in the areas that they can shop, it's all prepared foods. And much like my kids and all their friends, if it doesn't come in a box, a bag, or be able to be microwaved, they're probably at a loss to prepare it. So our chaotic lifestyles is really tremendously contributing to our unhealthy eating habits. And kids eat like their parents. So how do we change that? Food literacy, Minnesota agriculture in the classroom. And the reason that I'm bringing this to you today is because I am much more attuned to this since I am currently sitting on the foundation board of directors for Minnesota Ag in the Classroom. Minnesota Ag in the Classroom actually is both a public and private organizations that work together to bring food literacy to kids, K through 12. Now granted, it's always easier to do with little people, but there's certainly great things about the program for kids as they get older as well, in terms of also looking into career exploration as well. So what does Minnesota Ag in the Classroom bring? For educators, it brings a national database of curriculum with prepared lesson plans that they can go in and query science, 6th grade. And all these lesson plans will pop up that actually will then tell them which of their requirements as an educator will this lesson plan fulfill. It'll give them the resources that they need and tell them exactly how to execute it. The other things that we do are grants for everything from supplies for those lesson plans all the way into starting a school garden. And then we also do a lot of education for educators. And in the summer we hold different tours where they're able to experience farmers and then be able to take that right back to their kids. Sitting here in Rochester, we're within 15 minutes of actually talking to a farmer that grows milk, meat, fruits, vegetables, and grains. And most of our kids don't ever see that. Minnesota Ag in the Classroom tries to change that, and we offer a lot of resources that are able to do that. I gave one of them on your table. If you're interested, I know a lot of us have kids or have a lot of influence in schools, and if you have any interest, feel free to contact me or Minnesota Ag in the Classroom, because we're really just working to get healthy kids through food literacy.